Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, the podcast that helps agents, teams, and leaders understand how AI is changing real estate and the strategies you can use to win. I'm your host, Rajiv Sajja. In today's episode, we explore how independent brokerages and agents can use AI to streamline operations, improve client follow-up, and create more times for what matters most, relationships. I'm joined by Kasey Jorgenson, broker owner of Jorgenson Group Real Estate in Round Rock, Texas, who shares how his team is leveraging AI-powered assistants, automated workflows, and custom-built solutions to eliminate busy work and help agents focus on serving clients at a higher level. We also discuss why AI should enhance human connection, not replace it, and how brokers can use AI to create a better experience for both agents and consumers. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 127 of the Real Estate AI Flash. And our guest today comes from Round Rock, Texas, Kasey Jorgenson. And as he would say, Round Rock is the best suburb in the northern part of Austin, Texas. I'm sure others will debate it. But hey, as far as Kasey is concerned, it's the best suburb. And we have him here today to talk about all things AI. Kasey, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. And so Kasey and I connected, for those of you that are listening or watching, we connected at the Mike Del Prete Further event that happened May 10th in Austin, I believe. And we were sort of sharing the same table. And it sort of, we we were sitting and kind of shooting the breeze. And I heard some of the things that he was doing about AI. And obviously, we're all about AI literacy in terms of brokers and agents that are listening. So I thought he'd be a great value add. And what I enjoyed about looking forward to having Kasey on the pod to talk about is he's not just a boutique brokerage, but he's also looking at streamlining operations for his brokerage, leveraging AI wherever possible, but also all the things agents do day to day that leverage AI as well. So looking forward to it, Kasey.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So let's, just for the listening audience to get to know you a little bit, I'd love for them to kind of know your journey and how you got into real estate and bring us to today.
Sure. I grew up, I was the child of a home builder. So I was deep into real estate and had kind of free labor for my dad growing up. We were building homes and building basements in Ohio. And got out of that. I joined the military. So right out of high school, ended up joining the Navy, became a rescue swimmer and a helicopter crewman for 6 years. And my enlistment was set to expire in 2009. And 2009, the economy and the real estate market was real interesting. And my logic was, I want to build a business that has no ceiling.
Yeah.
And real estate was just the perfect fit. I had experience with homes and property, had the background just growing up in it, and said this is a limitless opportunity to go and build an actual business. Teams were just kind of becoming a popular concept, especially with Keller Williams, and that's who I ultimately joined. But separated from the military, researched different parts of the country that were poised to be kind of boom towns as the economy recovered, which pointed me to Central Texas, and had never been here, and came out, visited once, bought a house, and started my real estate business as soon as possible. So
yeah, that's awesome. So first of all, thank you for your service while you were in the military.
Oh, thank you.
And so you moved to Texas because of real estate, but where did you come from?
I was stationed in Southern California, and I actually started. So I interned with a husband and wife team, Sandy and Deirdre Bramberg, there. And I basically said, "Show me the ropes." And Southern California was the epicenter of terrible for real estate then, and so that's where we were. I remember, if you looked at 50 properties on the market, only one of them would have been what we called a traditional sale. Everything else was distressed. And so that was the toughest place to be. But that came from Southern California and chose Central Texas. I'm one of the original migrators, I guess.
There you go. Yeah. It takes sometimes there's a couple of lessons for me there. One is like, make a decision, make it quickly. Like you sort of went there. I mean, it takes a while for people to sort of move, right? And then you kind of hitch your wagons to a team to learn the ropes. I think there's a lot of benefit there that I hear from a lot of the agents and the industry I work with, obviously. So let's talk a little bit about what was your first like light bulb moment with AI.
So when I first moved here in 2009, 2010 to start my business, um, the average agent in our market at that point was much older, and they didn't know much about SEO and things like that. That's actually
Yeah.
what helped me kind of get up and going. The average agent then was um, they were a little bit older and they didn't know SEO and things like that. That
Yeah.
helped me kind of start the business. I made a really good SEO friendly website and generated a lot of organic traffic that way. My first light bulb moment with AI was realizing that SEO still important in certain ways. But several years ago, I said AI is going to be a huge deal when it comes to people asking for recommendations and helping people research professionals. And so this was probably about 4 to 5 years ago. And I said, we need
Yeah.
to make some changes to position ourselves to be the one that all of these, large language models are recommending. And so that was my first light bulb moment. And we did things for several years to set us up for that.
That's great. That's
And
great.
that's given us a great boost ahead.
And I think people that understand trends and don't wait for everything to be figured out and experiment, test your way in and test your way out methodology, I think will win. We had not too long ago Jill Wente from Better Homes and Gardens in Houston, Texas,
Hmm.
or Spring, Texas, as she would say, best suburb of Houston, she argues. And so she talked a little bit about how she was early in the SEO game. She used to get 30% of her business right from her website because of things she did with blogging, things of that nature. And she's obviously evolved to AI search as well. So that's definitely a good takeaway for people to lean in on specific strategies as trends change. So you run. So how big is your brokerage?
We currently have 15 agents here in Central Texas. We have 3 agents in Jacksonville, Florida. So
Oh
we've
wow.
expanded
Okay.
there with a partner there. But we have 15 agents and 4 staff members.
Okay. So almost a very solid team under a brokerage umbrella, right? Typically, team. If you're a team leader or a brokerage owner, I think some of the stuff that Kasey is going to share is going to be very resonating to you in terms of the operational pain that you may be enduring. So let's start on the operational side, Kasey, first. What are some use cases that you feel people listening to the show should kind of embrace and kind of test their way into it and build those things, leveraging AI? Start where we want to start.
So I think the first like kind of dipping your toes into the water, and I had a coaching call with one of our agents this morning who he says that he's the busiest he's ever been, and says, okay, well, how are we managing that? And he said, well, some things are falling through the cracks and things and so on. And so we opened up Claude, and I was kind of going through co-work with him, and I said, listen, you can implement scheduled tasks and things. That's the easiest way to get started. That just says, hey, Claude, can you review my email and make sure I'm not missing anything urgent, either business opportunity or anything else, and have it find those things, draft replies so you can just tweak and send, and do that at the end of every day. And so there's a lot of little things like that I think operationally can help people stay organized and kind of dip their toes into the water. That doesn't take a huge in-depth level of knowledge.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, I mean, there's several ways you can tackle this, but I think Claude's been a little bit of a leader off late at the time of this recording in terms of what you can connect to Claude and streamline your workflow. So I use Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, all three, for different reasons. But Claude's become a little bit of a primary use case for me as well. So I recently, I mean, I take meeting notes, like who doesn't at this point with all the AI note takers, and I've gravitated to a tool called Granola, Kasey.
Mm-hmm.
and very good. And it has an MCP connector. And think if you don't know what MCP is, it's just an easy way. It's like a USB hub for AI. Basically, you can connect it to anywhere. And Claude has a bunch of connectors automatically built in. Email is one. If you're a Gmail user, you're going to get a Gmail, you're going to get a calendar to literally ask questions. So I connected the Granola MCP. At the end of the week, I used to do this, Kasey. I don't know if you do this, but I have like a 30-minute slot on my calendar. That's basically a review my week and preview my next week.
Right.
That was a Sharon tip, by the way. I don't know, review. That's a great way to look at it, so things don't fall through the cracks. So now what I do is I basically go to that 30 minutes and I literally have asked Claude review my week and preview my next week, because all of the connectors are tied in. It just goes there, and it probably saves me a ton of time because it looks at my email, it looks at all these things, and it goes there. So if you're listening to this and you're not aware of connectors and you're a Claude user, most people I found, Kasey, I don't know if you found this to be true, they're using AI as a search engine. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody uses that. That's where everybody begins. But you can't just stay there. You got to move to the next layer of skills and connectors that you're talking about to take stuff off your plate so you can do more of the
Right.
important things, which is client connections. So that's a good takeaway for sure.
Yeah, and that's the MCP connector front. So we constantly kind of evaluate our systems and things. That's the number one question that we have is, hey, what does your MCP look like?
Yeah.
And what does your MCP look like, and how are you going to improve that? And let me see the documentation so we can ensure that everything connects appropriately to everything else that we're doing.
Yeah, and I think it supports this whole notion that AI is fast becoming the new user interface or UI. I do the same thing with my email newsletters. I don't go to that. I go there to create it, but to look at the analytics, I have a dashboard that Claude built for me that I can look at 7-week performance or 7-day, weekly, monthly, and you can pull whatever stats you want to pull. So that's definitely a good takeaway. I mean, if you're an agent listening to this and you feel like you're juggling a bunch of things, and you all have a tech stack, probably email and calendaring is a foundational element. Maybe you start there and connect those things to Claude. And you probably do that in plugins on Open ChatGPT also with
Right.
Codex. I feel like Codex is flying under the radar and it's really good, but it doesn't matter what you use. But if you're a Claude user, you should definitely look into that. So that's a good takeaway.
Right. Yeah, that's the exact conversation we're having with the agents. Most agents, what I've learned is this is all kind of overwhelming for them.
Yeah.
And so that's part of our value proposition at our brokerage is, hey, we're going to eliminate this thought of implementation for you. And we're going to do a lot of these kind of basic things on the back end that's all plugged into your systems. And then we're going to teach kind of some of those basics that can just solve their personal unique problems, which is, no agent is identical to another agent. So
yeah, 100%. And I think if you're a team leader or a brokerage listening to this, or a solo agent, get some help. Don't be stuck in the sand saying I can't do it because it's just too overwhelming. And if you're to Kasey's point, if you're a team leader or a broker, maybe that's it. You take that on to take that stuff off your agent's plate, so you help them implement some of this stuff, because once you set it up, it's just conversational language.
Yeah, agents don't want, like, we did a big kind of mid-year planning day we do every year just to check up on everybody's goals and get aligned and on track. And what I find, like, you and I talk about this, and it's exciting. Like, I'm the biggest nerd when it comes to being able to sit down and knock out some kind of a solution for a problem when it comes to AI. But agents don't want to spend all this time doing this. They want to spend time making sales and
100%.
building their relationships and giving good experiences. And so I love being able to take a lot of that off of their back. And I think more brokers and tools need to kind of adopt that mindset.
For sure. So what else are you doing supporting your agents to leverage AI, Kasey?
So from a support standpoint, uh, at the brokerage level, so we recently made our first kind of agentic AI here. We named her Claire. I don't know if we're allowed to. I don't know what's ethically appropriate if we are supposed
No,
to
it
give
doesn't
them
matter.
pronouns or whatever now. But we made something called Claire, and Claire's role is to essentially go through and completely replace the concept of drip emails
Yeah.
and conversion when it comes to engaging with our leads.
Yeah.
In Texas, it is much more difficult with recent legislature to cold call and things like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of dead here, and so email is huge. And before, drip emails, you schedule them to go out at a certain time, maybe a certain day, and things. Now with AI and our Claire, she can go and review a lead's website activity, and that can flag her to reach out. Hey, I noticed you looked at this property. Here's some more information. Here's 2 more properties like it. Would you like to set up an appointment? And so it's really taken the concept of like a drip email and email conversion and created an entire physical thing with her own Gmail account, her own CRM account, to be able to go in and engage at this level. And so being able to roll things like that out, that has saved an inside sales role.
Yeah.
It has eliminated the need to like go and tweak with drip emails and drip campaigns and those things that haven't really been effective, and kind of taking it to the next level.
Yeah. I think one of the things I think AI is unlocking, as we're seeing, is personalization to like one-to-one emails almost. And the more personalization, and the reason most email marketing hasn't worked is because the message only resonates with a small fraction of the people you're sending it to. And the fact that you're sort of layering Claire, and I'd love to get into a little bit about how Claire was built. What did you take kind of do that? That might be valuable for some that are listening. But personalization is key, and the more you can personalize, the more open rates you get, more engagement you get, more conversion, and all of that stuff. So talk to me about your agent. If I'm an agent at Jorgenson Real Estate, I have access to Claire. Where's my database? How is Claire built? Just talk through that a little bit.
So what's really interesting, so we were with Follow Up Boss for many years. They changed their terms of use last year with the Zillow acquisition and things like that. And so we've parted ways. And so we have a few different CRMs. And what I found was really interesting to kind of answer the question is, before last year, the CRM was the kind of the cornerstone of everything. And people needed to make sure that all of these other tools and systems would integrate with their CRM. And that was, for as long as I've been in the business, that was kind of the mindset around it. Now the concept of having a CRM that integrates with everything is gone away, because the agents that are here and the experience that we're building out is that I don't want them going into a CRM. I don't want them having to access all these different tools to do their job. What I want for them is the ability for them to get either an email or a single place to log in that says, here are the 10 things that you should do today to move your business forward. By the way, of those 10 things, 8 of them are people that you haven't talked to in several months. Yeah. And here's some emails based off of what we've seen in their LinkedIn and their past communication. And I've drafted you a suggested script or email to send them, to where they just have to log in and do that. The systems that we have right now, there's a newer system called SureSend. That's a CRM that has some great capabilities. There's also Close, so yeah, sure. CLOZE, that we're looking into and trying to figure out which one's going to move us forward. We're also big fans of Luxury Presence, but yeah, even me just saying all of that, we have all of these systems. I don't want agents having to concern themselves with that. I want them to know where there's one place that they go where they know that they can win their day, and that's it. And so Claire is kind of the one that's putting all of those together to where if somebody on the team gets an email from Claire that says, "Hey, this contact is ready for an appointment. Here's their availability." That's all they have to do.
Yeah. So Claire is basically an AI driven solution that plugs into an agent's database, email, recipient, whatever it is, and kind of gives them actionable insights to do every day in some capacity.
Basically, that's a function. Yep. And,
Yeah.
and of course, the cool thing about this is what's available now and how it works today is going to be improved in 2 months. And
Yeah.
so
By the time this episode is released, it will be improved, folks. That's the speed of change.
exactly.
And you did you build Claire internally?
I did. So it was me. It was my first little project, and we used Claude and Claude Code to go and do that. And I know enough to be dangerous when it comes to tech. Okay, I'm not a developer by any means, but I understand the concept.
Yeah.
And what was amazing about that experience and building that out is Claude walks you through, and then it will say like, "Hey, you need server space. Here, Cloudflare is a great option for what you're trying to do." And now that it's hooked up to Chrome, it even went through and made my account on Cloudflare for me. And so it does the bulk of the heavy lifting with minimal supervision. Next thing you know, 4 hours are gone, and your limits are used up in Claude, but it's doing the heavy lifting. So everything was done via Claude and Claude's suggestions for that, and connected with MCP connectors.
Yeah. And I think I was going to ask you your technical background. You sort of alluded to it. We recently had Jamie Pecca from the Real Brokerage in Ottawa, Canada, and how she built stuff with no technical background. And I think we're entering that age where if you have an idea, a pain point, just converse with AI, and it will give you the roadmap and build it along the way if you find the right tools. And Cloud Code, Cowork, Codex. Now, Gemini recently released at their I/O conference, Anti-Gravity. They're all sort of headed to this super app where you just talk to it and it'll just be the builder for you, right? So
Exactly.
I think we're in that age where everybody's a builder, like it or not,
And 5 years ago, we would have needed tens of thousands of dollars and a developer. Even then, you would need tens of thousands of dollars in development costs, and then you were still kind of stuck to their servers, and they had to maintain it, and then you were kind of trapped into this situation. Now we get to take full ownership and control of all of this with very little technical background.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important, if you're listening to this, it's good to kind of build an app for one, like a pain point that you're doing. But if you're going to build it and deploy it, like Kasey's done Claire, and it is touching multiple people, the quote that resonates with me from Further was, you can build the first 80% of anything in the first 4 hours. The last 20% takes you like a couple of 100 hours, especially if you're going to put it into production, where others are depending on their livelihood depends on you keeping the app up and running. That's a whole other ballgame. We're not going to get into it. But I think the builder concept is like, you can build anything, proof anything, or if you build something and take it to your broker and say, "Hey, I'd love to have something like this. Can you put some muscle behind actually building something like that?" So it's I say to people, like, we're in an age where demos over memos, right? So like, you actually just build something and show a demo of something. And over the weekend, I built it like a stock tracking app, because I didn't like the Apple stocks one. And there was something I wanted to tweak. I said, let me just go build it with Google AI Studio. And voila, it just built it, So I think it's important to know that you could do those things, but then to put it into production and depend on it, there's a layer that you got to have some input on. But what else are you doing from an operational standpoint, Kasey, or supporting your agents that we've not talked about, AI related?
On the operational side, so a lot of this, and I was talking with an attorney that we've worked with, we've had a lot of help with just analyzing agreements and helping create like internal documents to kind of protect us and things like that. it's helped a lot on that front. I know it doesn't replace an attorney, but
Sure.
it has helped immensely on that front. The other things that we're working for now are solutions for things like compliance to be able to review our contracts with a certain level of accuracy. Some bigger brokers are rolling that out. So the concept is there to kind of alleviate some things. Um, Tons of marketing help behind the scenes with these, where we've traditionally had a full-time marketing person in our support team, which we still do, but this has allowed the productivity just to
For
be
sure.
extremely multiplied with things, and turnaround times are amazing. And so I am not of the opinion that people should be eliminating people's roles to be taken over by AI. So that is not what we're doing. What we are doing though is figuring out how we can multiply their productivity and giving them some time back. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
and you
guess
can do
what?
more with less. More with less.
Yeah.
You can do better quality of output than what you were used to. And to your point, I mean, we live in an instant economy. Like everything needs to be instantaneous, and I think AI helps you provide that level of service for agents that you support. So I think those are all good takeaways there. So in terms of your AI tech stack, Kasey, this is not a question that you sort of shot the breeze on, but I'd love to hear what your agents are subscribed to AI wise and what you use AI wise to support them, like just stuff that's tried and true.
Yeah, so ChatGPT was kind of the front runner for a long time, and so where they have an edge is ChatGPT. If you've done things the right way to update the memory, it knows you very well, and it has learned a ton. So I think ChatGPT has been a good source for the most basic, like, hey, help me draft some emails and newsletters, things like that. Um, I've recently directed people to Claude because of their connectors and the
Yeah,
ability to plug into everything, to be kind of that Iron Man level Jarvis for them if they are ready for that. So recently we've been pushing that. And then we do have Google Workspace that powers our brokerage, which comes with Gemini.
yeah,
And so similar to you, those three are kind of our top three,
yeah,
and we use them for different things. Gemini has been coming out with really amazing things for marketing and things like that too. So if they want to make a fun, quirky little video or image or something, Gemini is sometimes a good fit for that.
yeah.
Productivity now is kind of Claude. ChatGPT is kind of a safe content creator all around thing. And so that's mostly where the agents are spending their time, and us too.
For sure. And as you talked about ChatGPT knowing you, the memory piece, I think all of them have done a pretty good job now. To you can take the memory from one to train the other literally through a process. And if you are in the ChatGPT mode and say I'd love to do that for Claude, I built a little guide. I'm going to put that in the show notes that basically walks you through step by step. So you're not starting at ground zero with Claude from ChatGPT. You're just starting with where ChatGPT knew you. Claude will know you as well, and they're all giving you processes to do that. So let me kind of jump into the final two questions, Kasey. Anything else you want to add on the AI side? You covered
No, I
pretty much.
mean we're trying not to overwhelm. I mean, there are
Yeah,
so many options, but those are the front runners, and so
for sure.
that's where we're going to spend our
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So are you like a book or a podcast person, Kasey?
I'm more of a book person.
Book, and you can
Yep.
throw Audible in that too, like digital books also in the same category. Um,
Yeah.
Give me one book that you tend to go back to more often than the others that has been deeply influential in shaping you.
Yeah, I think the biggest one. We were a real estate team for many years, and so
Yeah,
I've been in some form of leadership for my own business for a while. But we went independent at the end of 2025 to be our own independent brokerage. Uh, the book that was kind of most impactful for me, I think, kind of that high performers ADHD thing that everyone kind of has a either a curse or a gift depending on your perspective. Uh, Getting that simplified, the book Trey Taylor's CEO only does three things was probably the most personally impactful for me that I go back to, just to remind myself, like, hey, don't forget your role is still just culture, people, numbers before all this stuff. Even with AI,
yeah,
it's is this supporting the culture, the people side, and the numbers for the business? So that's been the most impactful for me. I think for us, in my agents and the team, Central Texas had massive increases, and we've also been hit the hardest with this shift. And there are a lot of people that are business owners here, and a lot of people that were very successful that had a major gut check and reality check when the market shifted, myself included. And so the Second Mountain by David Brooks was a pretty impactful one for us as well. For a lot of people to kind of say, hey, we went through and we had that and the market supported that. And now we've gone down into a valley and we're having to rebuild and things like that. That's been a pretty impactful one for me and for the people that I've coached as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you got 2 books, folks, that you should add to your list per Kasey. So final question. So you've been in the industry how long now? 2 decades almost?
It'll be almost 17 years.
17 years. Okay. So if you were to give one piece of advice to agents listening that are just starting out in business, or an advice that has been very valuable for you looking back to your younger self, doesn't matter, AI, business, life, anything, what would that piece of advice be?
The relationships have to come first. So we have there's a lot of noise with tech, economy, AI, everything. The relationships, I have no idea what the future holds, but that's something that I don't think will ever be able to be taken away. That FaceTime with somebody, that time on the golf course, that actual phone call to say like, hey, how are you doing after so-and-so passed away in your family? Like those types of things, we can't lose that. And we can make things efficient with technology and everything, but just that caring on a human level, that being in touch with people, that has to be a priority for people in life, no matter what, like period, 100%. No matter what.
Yeah. I think people that are going to win, I call it the last mile, the relationships. People that are going to win are going to master that and leverage technologies like AI to do more of that. Right. So that, you take stuff off your plate, automate the ordinary so you can personalize the extraordinary, right? Which is client relationships, right? So Kasey, this has been fun. So if you're listening to this and you want to reach out to Kasey, we'll put all the links in the show notes. And if you're looking for a rock star agent and you have a client in the Austin or suburbs of Austin, Round Rock, Texas, please reach out to Kasey. I'm sure they'll take care of your client as well as their own. So Kasey, this has been fun. Thank you for hopping on, and I hope to see you in real life again real soon.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much again for having me. And if you need anything, let me know.
If you found value in the show, follow it so you're notified every Wednesday when new episodes drop. Share it with someone in the industry you care for, and leave us a review as it helps us reach more real estate professionals like you.